Morning guys, Scott Matthews. I realise how silly I'm looking, but I'm nice and warm. 8 degrees in the hangar again here at Latrobe Valley, Victoria, Australia. Building a Sopwith Camel. Watch along, we'll see where we get up to in this video. Hopefully we'll lay some primer at least on the flight controls, but we'll see where we end up. Thanks for watching this one. Okay, I left off, I went home, and I've got this one last tape to lay on. I'll show you how I do that. And in the tent, got one side of the glue put on, and we'll do the other side today. Get a wash on there, maybe some primer, no promises. We'll see how we go. I just want to go over everything again with the iron, a final iron, and there's huge temperature changes I've got going here at the moment. It's nice in the tent, got the little heater going already, and it's a clean environment, so I get not much rubbish on there. Yeah, I know I'm not airtight in the tent, but there's no dust on the components. All right, bit of glue the cup down. I had this cut off before so you could just replace the cup, but I've changed my cups so one doesn't fit in the other, so I need to stick with the same sort of cup. I think my sponge brush is probably still okay for today. We'll see how that one goes. They're cheap anyway. So I've come in, fresh razor blade, cleaned my scissors down, new brush. With these brushes, because they're cheap, I just get all the loose hairs out of them, and then if any poke out, if any of the hairs poke out, just snip them off. Get a clean brush for the start of the day. Now it's just a matter of brush and wipe. I'll give you a look at that. Plenty of paper towel. And those ones I just fold into 3 or 4, like that. Have a look, see where we're at. Now I need a little cup around the control board. So, scissors, these serrated ones from Spotlight. And I'll just mark, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll just mark where the horn is. How far in, how far up. And then give that a cut. Don't worry about the tag just yet. It's easier to cut that tag off once the glue's sort of laid up. Now it's just a matter of lacing glue, fresh batch of glue, do about 6 inches. And then wipe that up. So with that, I just like to get a bit of glue, I think I've shown this, and just weld that edge. Run the glue right down so there's no dry spots there. And then with the cloth, you wipe that off. Fold the cloth. Get all the glue off and then wipe those teeth down. Any little dags or bubbles, just let them go. The iron will get those later. And then you end up with the tape down like that. So I'm going to continue along to the middle, or an overlap here. So this one will go down first, then this one. That's why I've left that bit. Around the hinges is okay. I'm going to continue along all that edge, all the way along here, then I'll get back to you. And I'm just brushing in a coat of the thinned glue or adhesive, Eco Bond, 3:1. I just brush it until it's dry, basically. So it's filling the weave. This will then trap the primer between this and the paint, supposedly. And we're just working up on a nice finish and build it up. So I've got the 4 controls to do, so I'm just going to apply this while I wait for the tape on my elevator to dry. So one thing to note here, when you touch this and then touch the unsealed fabric, it's a duller, this is more taut, if you like, different sound. So I've just laid that one up. Any of the little bum fluff, if you like, I'll just get off when it's dry. Go for the rudder. Alright, back on the elevator. Just going to iron the edges down for probably the second last time. You can see areas like just there. And if I just hit that with the iron, voila, lays it down nice. And just here at the tip of the iron. So just iron those bubbles all in. Get it all squared away nicely. The difference between this and balsa wood, you can't actually you do that to a balsa model and you got a big ding in it. This is pretty robust. So I just go along, I'll fix this edge up here. We may need to cut that actually. No, it's okay, it'll mould down. And then just lay every tooth down. Snick that bit off there. See, we've got another pucker there. Irons down nicely around the hinge. The hinge is a weird shape, and I just need to slit those corners just there and there. But it all seems to iron down rather nicely. I had a couple of good ones. Yeah, like here, I made a mess. But then that basically disappears. I can see a bit of a stain there, but I can feel with the iron that that's flat. And around the hinge, or the rivet that holds the hinge, just want to be careful, shrink it before you shrink it and then push it down. On the whole edge and the tip. Big guy here. Just heat it first without pushing down, shrink it, and now I'll glue it down. Right. So I'll go back over that with 2 hands and do these tapes while I'm at it, and around the rivets again, and then put our final wash on top of that. Okay, everything's green. I guess I better lay some primer. So what I noticed doing the wash, you can actually lift the edges a little bit if you're not careful. So I need to go over again all the tapes. Then we'll put some primer on. I think I'll try with a roller, just because it's such a big area and it's the first coat. We'll go with a roller and a brush just to do around the edges. I'll just do one side at a time. If it dries before the end of the day, I'll flip it over and do the other side. Does mean I'll get a sort of a slick edge, won't I? So yeah, we'll give that a try. Rather than, could hang these up and try and spray paint them. I'll do that definitely with the colour. But for now, we'll get some Eco Fill, the grey stuff, and we'll put that on. Okay, the grey filler. I was thinking about chopping the top off this and getting some paint tins so that I can stir it properly, but this is not too bad. Now this stuff's pretty thick, if you look. So I'm not going to attempt to spray it. Yeah, I could thin it down, but it specifically says not to. So I'm going to roll this on. We're going to do 3 coats with my, you got the foam, these sort of foam crafty rollers, and my drip tray. I don't know if I use the Glad wrap. No, I'll just wash up, I think. I'll just wash up and put it in there. And lay some primer. I've got my parts cleaned. I've just used a wet rag. I don't want to use a tack rag because it'll introduce some, because I'm using water-based, I think those tack rags have got a wax or something on them. So I've just used the wet chucks and I run around now. This guy's still, he was the last that I put the wash on. I'll frame him up better to paint. I'll just paint the one surface. I'm not going to film any of that. So I will roll on some paint and then I'll give you a look at that. Alright, last little bit. I'm just going to run my foam brush. Hopefully that'll minimise sanding. Not sure if that's the right thing. It's going to get three coats. So I'm learning as I go. should be okay, hopefully, when it dries. Okay, if I don't try, I'll never know. So while my painting is drying, I'll probably roll the other side just as a first coat, and then I think it's okay. I'm not... Obviously spray is going to be better, but it sort of shrinks down, like painting your walls at home. So I think it's going to be okay. The roller's a bit easier, less cleanup. Maybe the next two coats I just spray. Yeah, I've got to do the whole fuselage. Be nice to spray the final coat of primer and then the paint. So let's mix up a bit of paint. We'll try full strength. I'll try and thin it 20%, why not? A bit of water. We'll spray our test piece and a bit of paper or a bit of wood and see what happens. So from experience with my gun, I can just tell straight away that's too thick. You want it to run off the stick in a continual, or I do, I want it to run off the stick in a continual run, if you like. So I'm not even going to try that, but I'll thin it down and see what happens. Okay, back in, everything's dried nicely. I've ironed the edges down again. Got a nice sheen, dull sheen on that. Hit it with Scotch-Brite, and we'll go over all the parts. You can see I'm just doing the rudder now. Basically, you can see the charcoal dust or carbon dust. Rub the edges, and then I'm just taking the fuzz off. You might be able to see that in the light. Just taking the fuzz off the tops. Any little, bits of roller or foam brush are coming out. Trying to avoid the tops of the rivets, and then we'll put another coat of Eco-Fill onto these components. I'm waiting to blow a fuse here. I've got all the lights in the tent, the heater going, compressor going, irons on, lights here. Anyway, we'll blow this off with compressed air and a clean rag, and they'll be ready for another coat of paint. So quite a long process, just going through now, rubbing this back, laying down the tapes. Then when you sand it, you tend to lift up the tapes again, so iron them down again, just to try. And then I also noticed when you, if you lift this, get a different angle on things. Where is one? Just there. You might be able to see a tape, and down there. You get different shadows, so I haven't done this end yet. So just along that tape needs an iron down after I sand it, or before I sand it actually. These tapes get so much attention. Anyway, they'll be down and flat by the time we're done. All right, quite a long process. I gave it a good sand with the maroon Scotch-Brite. That tends to lift the edges up, but if you hold it up in the light, you get a good read on what you're going to get. You can see one there still. So I just take the iron and just weld that down. And it's gone. Now we're going to put another coat on. Looking good. That's taken 2 hours. Sorry I didn't film all that, guys. I could have filmed myself for 2 hours, just sanding, rubbing, ironing. So I ironed it first, sanded it, then ironed it down again. Blew it off with the compressor and the rag. Now I'm about to put the kettle on. We'll jump in the tent, which is nice and toasty. And yeah, coat of paint. Give it 2 hours or hour and a half, flip it over and do the other side. Come in tomorrow and repeat. Then we'll be ready for some colour. Probably need to go, it's a long weekend this weekend. Might have to go down and get some sample pots Should I do the fin a different colour? Or just do it brilliant white like the rest of it? This will be red, white and blue. That'll be sort of linen colour or white, and green and linen underneath. The tricky bit there, guys, make sure you paint the top surfaces green and the bottom white. Don't get it wrong. Okay, second coat, half a second coat. So I've got to do the other side of these guys. Yeah, I could hang them up and try and do it all at once, but you can see that's almost tacked off already. I'll go and have some lunch, come back in, give that an hour and a half. That's what it took yesterday. Interestingly, I tipped it with the foam brush all the way across this time, apart from the centre section. I left that all bubbly and yuck, and it looks like I don't need to tip it because I think that centre section is going to suck down nicely. Because you sort of don't want to be tipping the whole fuselage. But the tapes are looking a lot better. I've sort of got them under control now, if you see there. This hasn't tacked off, so don't worry about all those stripes. Sort of half wet, half dry. This one's even worse. But the tapes is what I'm looking at. There'll still be some teeth poking up, but I'd expect maybe half a dozen on each part. You know, there's probably 4,000 pinks on there. It only takes one to sort of ruin it. But I can see how this works now. The tapes are slowly getting buried. They say you can take it as far as you like. So, yeah, maybe the bottom will get 2 coats and the top will get 3. That's something we might look at, but don't tell anyone. Can't go that way. Ellie's drying. So we got Ruddy, Finny, Ellie and Stabby. Alright guys, we might wrap up another video there. We're 2 coats in. These are drying, touch dry at the moment. Looking pretty good. So I've got one side of the tape sealed and the other side's not. Potentially just a bit more rubbing, a bit more sanding. I won't do anything drastic until I just follow the guidelines. We'll get 3 coats on. So another sand, another coat of paint, iron down just a couple more edges, no doubt. And there we are. Alright, so from the decks to tent, that's it for this week, guys. Come back. We'll finish laying the coats of paint on these, or the primer, and we'll get into some painting. Thanks for watching.